we are on Aboriginal land. I'm currently at my home on Bidjigal land, and I pay my respects to the Bidjigal, to the elders past and present, and to all First Nations people, artists and creators joining us on the webinar today. And please feel free to use the chat function as a bit of an icebreaker to tell us which Aboriginal lands you are joining us from today yourselves. Say hello and don't be shy. So thank you for joining this conversation about the Creative Industries Connectivity Grant currently being offered by Create New South Wales. As you can see, the grant round is open until the 17th of March, and we're really keen to see some great applications coming through for this. So from Create New South Wales today, there's a few people online, but David Everest is our Manager of Arts Funding and who is leading on this program. So David will be able to answer your questions throughout the webinar. So I have a number of amazing guests today. Berg, Lucy Keeler, and Gabrielle, Mordy, and Meagan Pelham. So I'm going to introduce the guests first, and then I'm going to take you through the basics of the grant. Then I'm going to hand over to our guests to give us some information about the kinds of projects that they've been doing, which might stimulate your ideas around submitting to this grant. So this is a one-off opportunity, and so we didn't have kind of previous grants to sort of draw from as examples. And so we've gone out to the sector, we've gone out to some experts in the field and to ask them to give some case studies to you today. So firstly, Berg is a creator in residence at Western Sydney University's Launchpad. Is a creative director, filmmaker, content creator, mentor and teacher. He's travelled the world creating stories for organisations including Coke, UNICEF, Vodafone and CSL, but he's most passionate about helping innovators bring their ideas to life. And Launchpad is a community of innovators and entrepreneurs elevating Western Sydney and the world. Hello and welcome, Sai. We do look forward to hearing from you about your work. Our next guest is Lucy Keeler. Lucy is Head of Strategy and Experiences at Luna Park, Sydney, and a former curator of Vivid Sydney's Light Festival, and has built a career in creative applications of experimental technologies. Her work has received over 25 industry awards, but Lucy remains focused on nurturing local artists to become internationally successful. As a tech artist, she's co-founded Ample Projects, a collaborative art practice responsible for projection-mapped installations, immersive light walks and animatronic sculptures across Australia, Asia and Europe. And she's currently working to transform Luna Park, Sydney. She's so far introduced to the iconic heritage-listed amusement park more than $15 million worth of new Australian work. Welcome, Lucy. And now our final presenters, Meagan Pelham and Gabrielle Mordy. Meagan Pelham is a Studio A artist. She's the ultimate romantic, someone who creates and lives by the philosophy of true love. The imagery in her artworks invites audiences to see the world through rose-tinted glasses and embrace moments of beauty that surround us. Meagan is a multidisciplinary artist practicing painting, poetry, drawing and performance. She's presented live works at the Biennale of Sydney and the MCA Australia. She's been selected as a finalist for the Archibald Prize with her watercolour portrait of Romance is Love, depicting friend and collaborator Alana Plunkett of Australian fashion label Romance Was Born. And in 2024, she was also named as an Archibald finalist for a second time. Gabrielle Mordy is Studio A's CEO and artistic director. Studio A's co-founder with over 15 years of experience working with artists with disability. She holds a master's and first-class honours in anthropology. She's undertaken extensive research into the supported studio sector and has established Studio A as a leader in fostering the careers of professional artists with intellectual disability. Gabrielle is passionate about the importance of fostering a cultural life that embraces diverse voices and perspectives, and she's inspired by the power of art to translate experiences and stories across cultures. And I think what all of these, and welcome to Meagan and Gabrielle, but I think it's really amazing to read these bios and to feel the passion that's coming out of all of these places for the development of local artistic practice and to help artists achieve their goals, which is fantastic. So next I'm going to talk you through the basics of this grant round, and then I'll fully hand over to our guests. So this grant round is called Creative Industries Connectivity. So for this program, arts and cultural organisations are to collaborate with larger creative industry organisations and businesses to develop an innovative partnership project that has a potential for ongoing sustainable outcomes. And just the basics, the project must take place between the 1st of July 2025 and the 30th of June 2026. The grant value is from $30,000 to $50,000. The grant round opened last year and closes on the 17th of March. And the anticipated assessment timeframe that we have for this is 8 weeks after the closing date. So applicants must be a small to medium, not-for-profit arts and cultural organisation located in New South Wales for the last 12 months. They must have an annual turnover in the most recent financial year of greater than $30,000. And additional considerations include that the small to medium arts organisation must apply as the lead partner. So that's an important distinction to make. So basically, this grant round has come out in response to Creative Communities, which, as you may know, is our first New South Wales Government Arts, Culture and Creative Industries policy. We've had arts and culture policies before, but it's the first time that the creative industries has been articulated within the framework of an arts and culture policy. So the purpose of this funding is to incentivise new collaborative opportunities between the traditional arts and the cultural sector and creative industries, to encourage innovative partnerships that have the potential for ongoing outcomes, to demonstrate possible future direction of arts and culture and creative industry partnerships, and to offer the potential to export more Australian stories to the world. And in terms of partners, these can include, but are not limited to, broadcasting and digital media, design, architecture and fashion, built and physical heritage, creative and arts education, creativity in the food and beverage sector, and creative innovation in the technology sector. So the creative industries partner must be currently working in the creative industries, and it can be any type of business entity based in New South Wales, interstate or internationally. So the field is a bit more open for those international partners in general. And I did just put this together. It's the David Throsby concentric circle model for creative industries, and it's that creative industries are defined very differently from place to place, and lots of different kinds of interpretations of what they include. But this kind of gives you a sense that the core creative arts are generally defined in terms of literature, music, visual arts, and performing arts. And then we see a widening kind of concentric circles coming out of that, which then start to embrace other kinds of creative and cultural industries, which include advertising, architecture, design, and fashion. There are some in there in the related industries that I think might be in the core, but I think it's a thing that's open to interpretation, but it generally gives you a sense that the objective of this kind of activity is for organisations that might see themselves fitting within a more traditional framework to apply to broaden out and to create a different partnership and a different range of opportunities, perhaps for the artists and creatives that they're working with. And perhaps for their own sort of intentions as an organisation. So I have David Everest, as I've said, online to really cover off some of the questions that you might have relating to this grant opportunity. And then following the case study presentations that we'll shortly go into, we will be able to then talk a bit further about the eligibility requirements and other concerns around the grant itself. So any questions? I might talk to David. So David, I might throw these questions to you and see if you can answer them. Caitlin Campbell asks, just wondering what constitutes a small to medium organisation size?
Sure. Yeah. Hi, everyone. Look, basically, we're talking about not-for-profit organisations and at least a 30K turnover. But in terms of how big you get, that's it's not clearly defined. Obviously, the focus is on, I guess, what is normally called small to medium, which as an undefined thing, I guess it obviously doesn't mean, it doesn't include the large cultural institutions or the performing arts partnership organisations. So I guess it's anything below that.
Right. Thanks, David, and hopefully, Caitlin, that answers your question. There's a question from Fling Physical Theatre. Can applicants have more than one partner?
Yeah, look, that's fine. I guess the main thing is that there is a key partner or a key partnership that will kind of cover the main focus of what the application is, but there can be other partners as well.
Excellent, thank you. And Janine Lapworth asks, can the relevant project be the first part of a grander vision, or is it for feasibility or implementation by the 2026 of June? June 2026.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. It is very much, it can very much be the first part of a grander vision. So in many ways, and, considering the, relatively small amount of funding available, it can very much be seen as a feasibility type of project. Of course, there can be outcomes, but certainly can be a feasibility.
Right. And Maria has asked if local government can qualify as a partner organisation if they're also partnering with a creative industries business.
Yes, they can. It's similar to our normal guidelines in terms of local government. You have to be a distinct business unit within the local government area, local government office. So, and your focus needs to be on arts and culture as part of that unit.
Heidi Axelson, I think maybe they're asking if the local government could be a partner organisation, and I think they could be, but the focus is on the partnership with a creative industry business.
Yeah. Yes, they could be, but obviously, if they're the creative industry partner, that has to be clearly part of what they do, as opposed to being the arts and cultural element of it.
Excellent. And Heidi is asking about a small art and architecture business that they run, which has 2 employees and a company. Would they be ineligible as an applicant?
If you are for profit, you would be ineligible because it is only for not-for-profits. But on the other side, you could be the creative industries partner with another organisation.
Sky asks, what about a not-for-profit that is more or less a community centre offering the arts as part of the program?
Yeah, that that should be fine. Obviously, this is a focus on arts and culture, so you would have to demonstrate that what you were doing as a not-for-profit was, largely focused on arts and culture.
Thank you, David. And that covers the questions in the chat. And without further ado, I think it'd be great if we can hand over to our experts on the call today to talk with us about the projects that they've been engaging with, and with the idea to kind of stimulate you guys into action around putting in an application for this grant. So I'd like to firstly introduce Cy Berg, and I will stop sharing so that Cy can share his PowerPoint presentation. Thank you. Hey, Cy.
Thank you, Beck. Sorry, I'm just trying to share my screen here. Got to concentrate. Apologies. Just asking me for some security details here to be able to share. It's around the recording. What is stopping there? Share content. My apologies. Yeah.
If you have trouble, Cy, I can probably try to share. Oh, no, you're good. You've got it.
Are we good?
Yeah, you're good.
All right. Wonderful. My apologies, everybody. Slideshow. Look, I just wanted to start by giving you a bit of background to my role and what Launchpad is doing as part of Western Sydney University's commitment to the creative industries, which gives you some context for where my point of view comes from. Launchpad Creative is about elevating Western Sydney's creative industries through innovation, entrepreneurship, and networks. And the way that we do that is through creating events and experiences for people, entrepreneurial training. We run startup accelerators where we literally guide people through the creation of their startup businesses in the creative industries. We do mentoring and advocacy. Launchpad itself has existed for about 10 years, and it's always been about entrepreneurship and innovation and how to use technologies to accelerate those businesses. But the commitment to creative industries and the creation of Launchpad Creative is a relatively new invention. It comes inside of this context of the renewed commitment to creative industries from federal government, from New South Wales government with their creative community strategy. And at the end of last year, the university delivered the Unleashing Creativity report, which is around the university's commitment and its strategy for elevating creative industries in the West. So I've been hired by Launchpad as the inaugural creator in residence to help develop that program and bring that program to life. So it is very new. It was just the end of last year that I came on board, and it is this year really that we're bringing the program together. So in terms of the priorities of what we want to contribute and make available, it really is around helping people to create new businesses or create new products within the creative industries, how they can use entrepreneurial thinking to use innovation processes that have proved very effective in the corporate world and in the business world, and how to use them within creative industries, how to create growth and scale within existing companies, creating more connectivity within the West between creative industries. Obviously, isolation and dislocation is quite a big issue between the various regions, and how we can create some sort of cohesion and build a bigger community if that's based around creative industries broadly rather than these very specific industry sectors. And navigating change, such a huge issue for everybody, particularly working in the arts and creativity with the major technological shifts that are coming on. We're really interested in how we can help people make sense of those big disruptions and those big changes, economic and technological, and how they can leverage them and take advantage of them rather than being left behind by them. Like I said to you, the actual Launchpad Creative and this focus on creative industries is relatively new, but we've always had interesting creative industries businesses coming through our startup accelerators. And I wanted to share some of them because I think they have some interesting lessons that we can take from them. DineSeal is an AI-driven gamification page for restaurants. And it's really around how marketing and loyalty programs within individual restaurants can be gamified, how it can be more interactive, how you can make the entire experience more playful and deepen those relationships with customers. And they are merging really their passion and their interest in tech with their love of food and the love of the food industry. So rather than a partner, in the case of the connectivity grants, which is very much about creating a partnership, these are really organizations or startups or founders who've brought together and partnered these ideas within a single organization. But there's really interesting work that's taking place there in that dining space, recognizing that food and those dining experiences and innovations around food really is a flourishing creative industry that it requires and demands a lot of creativity, but also recognizing and looking at them through the lens of an experience. And places like restaurants or tourism experiences really do need artists and need a lot of creatives to help take what is like a conventional experience to a whole new level and to touch and connect with people on a whole lot of different and new levels and a lot of new platforms. CoLab, run by Rui and Zach, is a company which was designed by these local artists and creators, and their original passion, their original gift, their art was being artists and creatives. But they recognized this opportunity or this need to create an e-commerce platform, and that is to help local artists, other local artists and other local creators to create merchandise for their business. So they collaborate with them, they help to design and create the artwork, or to translate that into merchandise. They provide that e-commerce platform, but they're also connecting into the local manufacturing sector, which is obviously a huge focus in the West, with it being such an integral part of the economy. It's a really interesting intersection between different industries, and they found a passion and a way to parlay or channel their passion for their own art into contributing to the community through that platform. Another really interesting case is Louisa Chan, Creative. And Louisa is a wonderful artist. She built a website to sell her art and to sell merchandise around her art, but that's expanded out to where she's now providing these online courses in art therapy. So she's developed an educational aspect to her work, and she's creating this platform in which to distribute those courses and to build a community around those courses. She's also doing really interesting work combining artists with technologists, bringing them together and to try and do really experimental work. And this company and the platform that she's building is a way for them to collaborate, meet and intersect. So you can see that there's these different lessons and these different ways that people are finding to mash their passions together and to find alignment between what have traditionally been separate industries. And I'd encourage you to really look for these alignments and these connections between what it is that you've been doing and what you're committed to within your organizations, and creative industries where you can see that alignment and see that mutual fulfillment. As I say, this is quite a new thing, so I didn't have a lot of sort of detailed case studies about this partnership, but I have been involved and personally driven myself projects where I've had to reach out to brands or reach out to big business and as an artist try to form these partnerships. So I thought it could be valuable for me just to quickly share some insights and some ideas about how to approach them. I really wanted to emphasize this as well, as someone who has worked on both sides of big corporate, SME businesses. I've run my own startups. I've worked with community arts organizations. So often I see there's this big void or gap, and certainly people within arts organizations can think of this as a huge void. But I really want to encourage you from the business perspective. What I see at Launchpad in dealing with these businesses is there is this absolute need, a burning need for innovation within those businesses. Everyone's talking about it. Everyone knows they need it. And so there is an opening and a need for artists to become part of those conversations that these businesses are having, that they can have these relationships. Running these arts organizations as you do, innovation is a natural part of your world. It's a part of the way that you see the world. And so there's I want you to recognize that there is a desire from business to hear your perspective and to see your perspective. There's a recognition, within big business now, they refer to this thing called human-centered design, which is basically an acknowledgement that in the past there's been this focus very much on the corporate and thinking of people in a dehumanized way, as products or resources. But there's a huge shift within the business world towards human-centered design. And of course, that is where the arts is. That's how artists see the world. That's how artists approach the world. So there's a real natural opening and an opportunity for you to share your ideas and to collaborate with business. And the other thing is that business is really looking for great stories about themselves and about the world. They are operating in an economy where content is king and they need to be sharing constantly about what they're doing. So there is a real opportunity for arts organizations or artists in general to get in there and work with businesses, because there's an opportunity for great PR and great stories and great promotion, which all businesses are looking for. So I want you to feel emboldened to reach out and connect with to connect with creative industries businesses to find ways that you can collaborate together. Just a few tips here about those potential collaborators and how you can approach them, so that you can do it with confidence and do it authentically. My approach is always to go and look at this through a lens of brains, beauty, and heart. Brains really is about, well, let me actually, I can forward through. Brains, beauty, and heart, there's a real process, and looking at it through each of these three lenses, I think, could be helpful. In terms of brains, what I encourage you to do is to think like that business. To take some time and think about what their agenda is, what their objectives are, to think strategically like a business. Look for these cross-promotion. So essentially what you'll be doing is collaborating with these creative industries is a cross-promotion for both your businesses, and you need that alignment, okay? So you need to think about what is that connection and what do we share in common. Really look for creative industries that have a purpose or a message or values that align with yours. That's going to make them much more receptive to you and allow you to speak and to be more confident and more comfortable with the partnership that you would be entering into. Businesses think in terms of value, and value really is the cost divided by the benefit. Now, the cost to these creative industries is going to be the time and energy and their reputations and these things that they might need to put on the line to go into a partnership with you. But the benefits are many, and it's a good idea to really think about what they are and to be confident in sharing them. The benefits can be intrinsic, just in the process itself, or extrinsic, in terms of promotional PR or publicity or new customers that they might find. Think about it in terms of how your project can be a great promotion of their existing business or their products, their services, their values, their purpose, their declared purpose, the way that they share their mission with the world. Can you show how your project is a great way for them to bring that to life and to promote that in the public? As I said to you, these businesses are looking for innovation. They have an impulse. They're talking about needing to innovate. Can you present, as part of your approach to them, your creative process, your artistic process? Because these businesses are looking for new processes. They have their conventional ways of doing it. But if part of your presentation in approaching them can be sharing your process and showing that there is a really thoughtful and effective system behind how you approach your project, that can be very appealing to those businesses as a way to upskill themselves or to approach their own businesses differently. There could be new skills that they get to develop as part of your project. So many businesses are trying to experiment and find opportunities to have creative freedom and provide have projects that internally keep their staff excited and inspired, which push the boundaries of their skills and takes things that they've already done to the next level. So look at people's websites and past projects they've done and see if you can see a connection in how your project could be an amplification of work that they've already done. So the main thing is get in there and research, really see what you can discover online about what they're doing, look for that alignment and present that as part of your presentation when you're approaching these potential collaborators. So brains is the first thing. Think that through, do the research. Then beauty, okay? This is really important, I think, that you go in there and present professionally, okay? You need to be able to present in a business context. They need to trust that you're going to be able to deliver work that is not going to damage their reputation, that it's professional enough for them to be aligned with. But what I really encourage you to do is to maintain your creativity and your authenticity. So it's just thinking about how to present that professionally, acknowledging their world, but make sure you bring your world with you and what you're going to offer to the partnership, which is the creativity and a really authentic voice. Don't speak in business language, speak from your heart, speak in them from your world. The creating the perceived value there, what I meant was, value really is something that is a perception, and the way you present it affects the way that it is perceived. Revealing your processes, showing what it is, as I said earlier, the way that you approach your work is something that's really going to speak to them and be an opportunity for them to want to invest in. And look to make each touch point you have with them, from your phone calls to your sit-down conversations, your coffees, or presenting your ideas to them, make each of those touch points a creative experience that really reflects your art and story. Really hold on to what it is that you are bringing to the table. And finally, it's the heart. I think this is really important. This is what so much of business is lacking, and what they will find appealing potentially. The right partners will find this appealing, is the heart that you can bring to this, the humanity that you can bring to these projects. Remember that this true connection is only possible when you're vulnerable. So really be willing to put yourself out there, be willing to swing for a big potential partner, be willing to really put your heart on the line to find that right partner. You really need to demonstrate your investment of care and commitment, okay? There is going to be a concern from some businesses about reputation and who they're aligning with. If you can demonstrate how much care and commitment you have and that you're investing in it, that will help assure them that you are going to be in it and deliver to the level that they need. Sharing your purpose and message and values with authentic emotion. Again, this is something that's really lacking from so much business talk. Yet that's something that you can bring that can help enliven those aspects of their identity and what they're about. And really try to bring to life the impact for your audience or for the community. Look to that bigger purpose than just you or them. If you can really bring that to life for the potential partners about the impact that this is going to have on the audience or the community, I think that's a really great way to encourage them to see this much bigger value, and for them to take the time and willingness to invest what they need to invest to partner with you. I hope they're useful. And some helpful hints about how to approach them. My main thing is to have confidence, have confidence in where you're coming from, to swing big, look for great partners. If you have those essences, those whys between your organization and their organization, that shared purpose, bring that to life with creativity and passion and emotion. I think you will be more successful than you may fear. And look, a good way to keep track of Launchpad and what we're doing with Launchpad Creative as it evolves is through our website. You can sign up to the newsletter, and please feel free to reach out to me at any point online. To discuss. We have mentoring opportunities, and part of my role is to help guide people. So if you found what I've shared today useful, be happy to keep that conversation going as you go through this grants process and any other sort of entrepreneurship or innovation projects that you're working on for your organization. So thank you.
Awesome, Si. Thank you so much for that. Really fantastic to hear that insight on how to approach a potential collaborative partner. I think that's really important advice to be giving. So I am now going to hand over to Lucy Keeler, because and hold off on questions until the end, just so that we can hopefully get through all of the content that we have today. I have actually got Lucy's slides on my deck, so I'm going to go through them for her. Lucy, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Great.
Hi, everybody. Let's take a quick run at this, I think. Look, just to start with, there's only one thing that everybody needs to know and understand to their core, and that is that Australia and New South Wales in particular, but Australia creates, I believe, some of the best creative and technical talent in the world. And when you put people together doing interesting projects which represent everybody working on the edge of their comfort zone, doing something which is greater than the sum of its parts, that's when we make the most interesting work. And I want to show you a couple of things that demonstrate what I mean. I used to make work, and I have discovered that what I truly love is putting groups of people together. So I'm going to show you a couple of edges of different things for you to consider, so that you know where that sits for you and your own practice, and what it means for you to extend your practice into a collaboration with other people, and what forms that might take for your own work. So I currently work at Luna Park Sydney, where I have been for the last 2.5 years, and my remit was to transform our beautiful protected heritage asset into something which is no longer sliding into obsolescence. So we've embraced a theory which is protect the best of the old while embracing the best of the new. So why don't you throw forward one slide? Let's go next slide. So Sydney's living canvas is Luna Park, and historically it has been protected by artists, and even to this day we have a full-time artist in residence who paints here all day, every day. So the heritage essence of the park is still very much nurtured by hand painting. But what we are doing is off the Midway, which is the centre street of any amusement park, off the Midway is state-of-the-art new experimental art practice. And if you go for one more slide, what we're doing is we're creating a 3-tiered structure, which is for Sydney and for Australia, which is an incubation platform essentially for developing young new artists, vocational pathways for new graduates, and employment opportunities for really interesting people to make really interesting work. And we're doing 2 polar ends of that. And let's start at the top, because why not? Next slide. At the moment, we are exploring a new genre, which is throwing together really interesting teams to make things that you can only do in Australia. So the number one blockbuster, and I suppose, look, I wanted to show you this because this is on one end of the absolute commercial end of creative practice, but what we have down here in at Luna Park in our big top is the best performing, best reviewed Squid Game experience in the world, and it was created entirely by Sydney-based creatives in collaboration with Netflix in LA and the original IP holders, of course, in Seoul. So it's been a multi-country collaboration, but it has been also everyone working slightly on the edge of their comfort zone. We have a cast who come from theatre and film who are currently working in immersive theatre, slightly different, and it's on a pulse where you essentially do the same script over and over again every 15 minutes. So it's a totally different application of previous skills. The script has been written by a scholarship holder from Afters in collaboration with Netflix in LA. Our scenic artist is all hand painted. They've gone from film sets to here at Luna Park to build Squid Game experience. And then mapping animation, of course, which we all know and love, but there's a totally different application over here because it's gameplay for Squid. You play red light, green light in a mapped animated world. And then, of course, stage managers and theatre technicians doing things that they don't normally do, but we're creating a new genre here. And Squid Game experience has been so successful here that we have 16 shipping containers arriving next week with Stranger Things experience, and we're currently casting from directly out of NIDA and Afters for that one, and then there's 2 more on the blocks for the end of the year. So look, that's on one end, and that's a very commercial end. And if you go forward one slide, this is what our immersive big top space looks like. So you might have heard that there's a few things that have been going on at Luna Park, and what we have done is built a $15 million room, which is state-of-the-art technology, multi-layered. There is no other space like this in the country, and it has been specifically designed as a magic box for the creative and technical talent in this city to show us what to do with it. So flick forward. We've currently got 4 new attractions created. One back is a lot of lovely, pretty pictures of a lost one. Anyway, so look, we've been working with many different teams in Sydney, light-based technology teams, also sculptural artists and musicians and performers to create all different kinds of work here at Luna Park. And if you go forward one, this is our education partnerships layer, which is still growing. We're working with the arts unit to start integrating schools into the program here so that they're learning how to perform for audiences here. They're learning how to make artwork. They're learning how to use the big top and how to projection map from secondary up into, ideally, into our vocational placement, and then opportunity pathways that we're building here. And then, of course, there's the other lot. So look, that gives you a snapshot of who we are currently working with and continuing to build partnerships with. And skip forward, I will also take you back in time. So I did 12 years of Vivid Sydney. I'm not using the logo there because I'd have to, get approval. And I just want to show you only 4 examples. I mean, we built for my last 3 Vivids. I had the great pleasure, but also huge responsibility of putting that program together. And it was my team that carried Vivid through 2020 and 2021 cancellations, both of which we were bumping in at the time as a fully finished festival. So I'd just like to show you 4 really interesting projects, which are different kinds of collaborations, and show you the sort of thing that you could be thinking if you were going to say, okay, if I were to place my my graphic art world, which, like these guys, they are film VFX guys. It's 2 brothers, and they created this funny little offshoot called Horse, and they're so talented. But from their VFX space, one's a graphic designer and one's a 3D designer, and they started mapping interesting objects, but then they collaborated with a bamboo sculptor, and Barefoot Sustainable Design, in collaboration with the Horse guys, made this thing which is now traveling the country. It's done Parchment, it did Vivid, it's now going anywhere you could imagine because they built it to tour because they're smart. But then, of course, you also layer in what is the audio experience. So there you have 3 different kinds of people bringing their skills to something that not a single one of that trio could have created this piece themselves. They needed each other. It's a beautifully symbiotic piece. If you go to the next one, this is a classic collaboration, which we do every single year. It's the Matu artists and their incredible collaborative painting, which then was partnered with the projection mapping studio, which is Curious Studio up here on the north side. And that's a classic collaboration that we here in Sydney and Australia have become known for, where we help our technical projection mapping artists help traditional studio artists to make their work move through all of the algorithms of making it map to a building. And then, of course, you have the technicians who run it and, lining it up in the building at 2 o'clock in the morning and pressing play. So you get really interesting collaborations on projects like this, which is something that you all know and love. Actually, some you're going to love it some years more than other years, let's face it, because that's the curatorial world that it moves through. And then this one, Evanescent, I wanted to show you this because, first of all, no one ever saw it. This was in the cancelled Vivid Sydney, and the sheer scale of it was extraordinary. So this filled Darling Harbour, and then we were building a walkway right through the middle of it. There was a very small version of it in 2022 after I'd gone, but this has now travelled the world. And I think this is a really interesting one for you guys to see because you've got the bubble texture artwork, which Atelier Sisu, who create this kind of work, they in themselves are really interesting because they are an interior architect and an artist from Peru is the duo, right? So this Australian girl and this Peruvian artist are together, Atelier Sisu. But then when you team them up with marine engineering skills, and then you embed audio design, which is essentially immersive, right? So the whole of Darling Harbour is going to be audio mapped for this beautiful audio design. It's a really interesting project, which is greater than the sum of its parts. And then the sheer scale of the thing has meant that they have actually toured this work, even just in parts, all around the world. So anywhere you look up this stuff on Instagram, it's basically toured ever since. So we were very pleased with that original investment, which wasn't even, it was, I don't know, probably about the same amount actually as this grant is, was that original investment, which has now since spawned over and over, contract after contract after contract. So they're actually earning a living touring that work now. So this is the last one I want to show you, which is Ample Projects. I made this one. This is my baby. Ample used to be my company. But this was interesting because it was a set of designers from Ample, which was basically an animation studio, who collaborated with a sculptural team to build these animatronic sculptures. But then it was the science team that is what made this really interesting at Taronga Conservation Society. Of course, every one of these animals had to be anatomically correct for their species. So it was a really interesting engagement between a science team and a creative team, and then a technical execution team. So look, that's all I brought for you today, but I just thought that's a really interesting snapshot of how you could start exploding your thinking beyond what you're currently doing to who else can amplify my work and take my work somewhere I didn't think I could take it all by myself.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Lucy. Really great eye candy there, as well as thought candy. I'm just going to stop sharing and reshare again because I need to introduce Meagan and Gabrielle from Studio A, and they are going to be presenting a video. Did you want me to show the video first?
Sure. Yep, that sounds good.
Okay. So this is a beautiful video coming up that really kind of tells the story of the, sorry, I'm having trouble with my sharing to include sound, which is very crucial. So I'm just going to make sure that that works.
While you do that, Beck?
Sorry?
Oh, I said, do you want us to introduce the video while you figure out the tech?
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
So yeah, as has been introduced, I'm Gabrielle, and
I'm Meagan Pelham.
This is Meagan Pelham. And so we're from Studio A, and we'll explain a bit more about Studio A in a moment. But this is a video that was made in collaboration with Romance Was Born and Motel Film to promote a fashion range that Romance Was Born created, but featured Meagan's artwork.
Yeah.
And we should mention that this video also features your fiance.
My partner. Yeah, we are 9 years together.
So this features Meagan's partner of 9 years, Micah, who was kind of your arm candy in the video,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
I like poetry, but I love you, I love you. My favourite is Beauty and the Beast with Rose, dancing, action, and movies. Gabrielle Blanc. Love. We will have love all the time. Drinking Sauvignon Blanc. They just love eating chocolate. Right, kisses? I like bottom part fashion, but women's dresses. I used to draw women's dresses. I designed them for fashion design.
Who made the dress?
And Anna. One was the born, they're good people, whole world. Them is my favourite people, whole world. Amazing of my dreams. Okay,
It's you, beautiful man. Red roses are blue. Red roses are blue. Violets are red.
Red.
You are so gorgeous that I love you so much.
I love much.
Well done, Meagan.
Thank you. Such a beautiful video.
Thanks. That video makes me cry.
The photo makes
Oh,
Meagan, should I start by talking a bit about Studio A?
Yes, sir.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm one of the founders of Studio A, and I've worked. Meagan is really an inspiration for starting Studio A, and Meagan and I have known each other for
A long time.
a very long
To
time.
the arts.
Yes, yes.
First met Gab. Awesome.
So Meagan and I first met at Studio Arts, and so that's a more recreational program, a recreational visual art program for people with disability. And I met Meagan there and saw her incredible artwork, and could see that there wasn't a lot of opportunity for artists with intellectual disability, artists like Meagan, to be able to pursue professional careers. And there's a bigger underrepresentation of the voice of artists with intellectual disability in the broader art world. So Studio A is all about supporting Meagan to be the successful, famous. Is that what you want?
Both for me.
The famous money earning.
Money and Facebook and Instagram.
So Meagan's inspirations as an artist is to be famous, to earn money, to be on Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah.
That's what you're aiming for?
Yeah. No, talk.
Not on TikTok, Meagan says. So Studio A exists to support Meagan to achieve her aims. And so one of the I guess as a business, Studio A is always thinking about, okay, what's the most strategic, effective, best ways that we can first of all be a sustainable arts company, because I think everybody knows that being a sustainable arts company is not the easiest of jobs, and also actually being a not-for-profit that supports artists with disability is also a challenging, sustainable business. So we kind of took two challenging businesses and put them together. And so we're always thinking about how are we going to not only support our artists' aims, but also earn income ourselves in order to be a strong company. So one of the biggest challenges that we encounter is limiting broader perceptions that exist about people with intellectual disability. So I can't tell you how many times I'm congratulated on my work as a volunteer art therapist. And art therapy is an incredible profession, and we actually work with a lot of art therapists, but I'm not an art therapist. And what we do here, we are, as Meagan says, all about making artists money and fame and making high quality art. And so I think that the perception that our artists are here to get therapy is more talks to kind of limitations that exist, broader cultural limitations that exist about the capacity of an artist with disability. And so a lot of the work we do is thinking strategically about how can we break through those perceptions and those limiting stereotypes. And so we are always thinking about who are kind of the leaders in art, who are the best practitioners, who are the brands known as being really cool art, and partnering with them. And so we kind of get the halo effect of partnering with other creative industries. And just by partnering with Romance Was Born, for instance, Studio A also gets the halo effect of Romance Was Born, and that helps to kind of rebrand who we are. And I get asked less in the end if I'm an art therapist, and instead when we say Studio A, with the response we get is cool and amazing art. That's the kind of perception that we want to get. Now, should we talk a bit more about your art, Meagan?
Yes, I love my art.
So Meagan has in front of her this journal. Do you want to hold it up and open it up? Meagan just has tons of these art journals, which are just filled.
Notebooks.
Sorry, notebooks.
Oh, notebook. Yeah, notebook queen because I love notebooks.
You're the notebook queen because you love notebooks. So Meagan, I can't tell you how many notebooks Meagan's got, where she's got these, what do you call these, fashion drawings?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so you love fashion?
I like fashion. Yeah, I love drawing up fashion stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so what has it been like working with Romance Was Born?
I love it. Making clothes.
You love making clothes?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you make the clothes, or which bit do you do?
I draw them with the clothes on.
Mm-hmm. You draw your models with
Model
clothes on?
and the tops.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so we'd always thought it would be great to work with Romance Was Born. And Meagan had been exhibiting for a while. She'd been collected by Art Bank, kind of been getting her profile higher. And it was through a photographer that we were working with at the time, who also worked with Romance Was Born. And this kind of mutual professional contact told Romance Was Born about Meagan. And so it was actually Romance Was Born that came to us and said, would Meagan like to work with them? Do you remember we went and had a meeting with them?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And kind of felt out if it was the right kind of partnership?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect job for me.
And decided it was a perfect job for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And your love of love is a good fit?
Yeah. I like love all the time.
You like love all the time?
Yeah.
And so from there, I think obviously there was a beautiful creative connection. And so the part that you've done, feel free to correct me if I get this wrong, is you've done the visuals, you've done the drawings.
Yeah.
And then we do photographs of the drawings.
Yeah.
And send them to Romance Was Born.
Yeah.
And then the part they do is work out how to apply your drawings on the clothes.
Yeah. 3D thing. See-through paper.
With what, sorry?
See-through paper.
You use tracing paper,
Yeah.
see-through paper, yep. And then once the clothes are made, are you sometimes a model?
Yeah.
Yep. And you go to the fashion shows?
Yeah.
Yep. And so I'd say that it's been a really great partnership, and it's led to other opportunities. But another part of, I'd say, the process that I'm quite aware of is also part of the success of the partnership with Romance Was Born, which has now been a real multi-year partnership and has led to other opportunities, has been putting in very clear legal agreements. And that's something that Studio A does with all of our partners. And so we put very clear paradigms around what's the responsibility of each partner, what's the deliverable, how we're going to speak about each other, and importantly, how Meagan's going to get paid.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think that's a real, a really important part to emphasize, that there's all the kind of halo and the greatness of the coolness and the fun and the Sauvignon Blanc at the opening.
Yeah.
But having really, we work with legal advisors, and having those paradigms in place is critical in leading to that success. And I was going to mention there is a range of other partners that we work with. So this is a plate that we produced with mud. Meagan is whispering to me, mud.
Yeah.
And this is by Sky.
I make owls.
You did owl plates with mud?
Yeah. I'm an owl lady, so I love owls.
You love owls. So that's another kind of demonstration of a multi-year partnership, which again, we were strategic in kind of showing the different ways that Studio A artists can apply their work, but also in kind of partnering with kind of the best art practitioners. And I was going to, what's that mean? Oh, yeah. Megan's just scratching your eye. Oh, no. Oh, okay. All right. And to finish off, Studio A does have another fashion partnership coming up, which we can't announce yet. It's with a different designer.
Yeah.
So keep your eyes out for that partnership.
That's so exciting and so beautiful to see this work happen. Thank you so much, Meagan, and thank you so much, Gabrielle, for presenting. I think we've gone a little bit over time, but I just do want to allow some conversation between our presenters. I think, you know, the video at the end and the way that you've talked about this kind of process really shows, I think, what Simon and what Lucy have also all talked about, which is, you know, swinging for the big partnership, the partnership that you really want to do. I think Romance Was Born also get a halo effect from Meagan as well, and from working with Studio A. And I think that's the thing, it's like a reciprocity. So you can see where there's, which is what Simon's also talked about, where there's value on both sides and people look at the sort of benefit of the engagement. And also that idea of, like, you can't do it alone. Like, Meagan has these incredible ideas that get to be realized through a partnership. And that's a really, like, phenomenal kind of thing to end this presentation with. Simon or Lucy, do you have anything to add? And I'll see if there's any other questions. There's a lot of love hearts. There's love hearts in the chat. Brilliant.
I would just say one thing, and that's go for it. Like, even if you're not sure, just put in the submission, because if anything, it gives an opportunity for you to chat to people, to connect with other people, and it might be something that grows into something else. So just start somewhere, for heaven's sake. Don't be frightened. You're never going to move forward if you don't take just that one first step.
Yeah, and I think all the presentations also kind of demonstrated this idea that you don't have to stay in your lane all of the time. Like, and it doesn't actually ruin your practice to collaborate in a commercial endeavor. You might find something else from it, or you might find that you return to the thing that you originally did. But I think all of the examples here kind of show how different artists can be involved at different times in different kinds of projects, and different companies engaging with creative industries partnerships to really diversify the kinds of audiences that are there for their art as well. Yeah. So I just have a little bit of additional stuff to go back through. I do want to thank all of our presenters. So I just want to just finalize this by just giving you some more information about the grant. And hopefully you can see the slides again. And so this is basically some more information about the assessment criteria for the grant. You'll have to pitch an idea of what you want to do. You'll have to talk about why you want to do it and who you want to engage with it. You'll have to talk about the experience and who is involved and why they're the right people for the activity you're doing. And you'll have to talk about the alignment that your partner organisation has with you as a collaborator. And finally, how you'll spend the funding. So we're also looking for support material that are relevant to the application. So whenever you're putting support material together, really, again, swing for the bleachers and put in your best work. If you have like 10 images or 10 things and 5 of them are really great and 5 of them aren't, don't put in the 5 that aren't. Like, really tailor the support material to the application. And then provide a little bit of evidence of these early negotiations with your collaborative partners. So they're not looking for everything to be done and dusted at the point of application, but just that you've taken those steps and that you've engaged with a partner organisation for this program. I do think there's a final couple of questions, David, potentially to answer in the chat.
Sure, and Beck, look, I was going to say, just because we've gone a bit over time, I'll just put the...
Oh, have you dropped out, David? Or is it me?
Oh, sorry, here I am. Yeah, look, I was going to say, just because we're running out of time a bit, I'll put the link to the guidelines in the chat. And there's also the contact numbers there for me and and also the arts funding team. And maybe if people want to contact me with those direct questions about eligibility and so forth, some of them are a bit complicated, so it's probably easier if we talk offline on it.
Yeah. There is a question about whether TAFE could apply. So I think
not educational institutions can't apply as the applicant, but they could be, you know, part of as a partnership. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for your participation today. I do hope that the amazing presentations that we've had generate some thoughts about the kinds of projects that you might want to deliver for this program. Wish you all the best with your application process. And as David has said, you know, like, he's contactable. There are people at Create to help you to navigate through that application process. And so I do want to now just thank so much Berg, Gabrielle, Mordy and Meagan Pelham from Studio A, and Lucy Keeler from Luna Park for taking us through those amazing presentations today. So much food for thought. Thank you. Bye, everybody. Thank you.